welcome back. So we are starting off with this kit that I got. It's a desk accessories kit that I got off of Amazon. And it started off because I was really interested in looking at the staplers and trying to do, figure out maybe to do some staplers and maybe teach y'all how to do those. Do some trial and error kind of thing. And I saw this set and I thought, oh my gosh, what a cool set to put everything together and have like a back to school teacher gift or end of school teacher gift, or just somebody in your office or secretary day or whatever the case may be. But I thought that these acrylic tops and the acrylic tape dispenser, the acrylic, I thought everything that was acrylic, we could definitely put some UV resin and put some glitter and make them fabulous. Now, the one thing that I loved about this tape dispenser was I was thinking to myself that I'm going to have to be really careful, because the little slot where the tape goes, the little round piece where the tape goes on. But they actually designed this so perfectly because it's all on the inside. So the outside is completely flat. So it's completely flat on all sides. So it was the absolute best, surface to put some resin and glitter on to make it just pop even more and be even more glittery. So I took just the little cup that I use for regular epoxy, and I put probably 5 to 7-ish or so milliliters. Now, I wasn't too worried about filling it up too much, because as long as you don't cure it in the little, cup there, you can use that to fill it up even, for the rest of the sides. So I wasn't, I kind of was like, okay, I'm going to see how much this will be for one side. And I think it used pretty much the whole thing. It was about 5 to 7 milliliters that I filled it up and put the glitter in. And one thing I will say is to make sure that you just kind of fill the glitter up on the top part of the resin, because if you put too much in there, which I did later on when I did the rose gold version of this, it gets really lumpy, and you need to immediately put more resin in. So you'll know pretty much instantaneous as soon as you start mixing it that you're like, oh, I put way too much glitter in here. And it's way better to have more resin than it is more glitter. You're going to get a much better, smoother look. So I pretty much used that whole amount that I put on, which I said was about 5 to 7, and I put that whole thing on there. I piled a little bit of glitter on top of that, mixed it up real good, and then put it on there. And then I used my UV lamp for probably a few minutes. I just kind of would sit there and then after a minute or two, I would just kind of feel it, and I'm like, okay, that's good enough to move on to the next step. And then I take them outside after everything is said and done. I set them outside and I turn them and I flip them, and I just let the sun do its work. But I use the lamp to kind of progress the way through, and so that way I don't have to take everything outside all day long, and constantly having to use it outside. I just use the lamp for that. Now, I will say this lamp that I have, it works fine, but it's not, I don't think it would be the best lamp. I wouldn't I wouldn't suggest this would be the lamp that I would purchase. I might try to find something that was a little bit stronger, a little bit more durable, that kind of thing. But, it's up to y'all how you want to do it. It was cheap, but it wasn't as cheap as I could have spent a little bit more and got a little bit better lamp. So I kept the same cup, and I just kept kind of, filling it up and putting more and more, the resin. I think this is from Resin. No, I don't think. I know this is from Resin Rockers, and it is the best UV resin that I have used so far. Now, I've only used 2. One was from Amazon and theirs. And I will say it's leaps and bounds better than the one that I got off of Amazon. That one sucked. I used the lamp I used outside. I for hours and hours, and it's still never ever cured. It never ever felt, you know, totally solid. And this UV resin was much better. I feel like it was much more solid in its, you know, curing and that kind of thing. So I will definitely suggest, you know, highly recommend them as far as if this is something that you're interested in getting some kind of UV resin. And like I said, I kept using the same cup, so I would just fill up like this one side. I did like maybe 1.5 milliliters, maybe 2 milliliters. I didn't actually measure it. I just kind of squirted it in there with like, okay, I think that's probably about enough. But I knew I still had the one other side to do, so I was fine with, you know, okay if I have a little bit extra kind of thing. So I did, like, obviously this is sped up and I skipped over that one part. I did let that sit for a little bit longer on that, but I also on the resin, but then like I said, I was going to take it outside, so I just needed it to cure enough to like continue on to do the rest of the piece. So on each side, on the one side, the back side, and then the other side, I filled it up with the glitter and the resin and all of that, and then I took the resin over the top of it and I just put a clear coat of resin on there, and that definitely gives you just a solid clean look on the top. You definitely don't want to leave it just with the resin and the glitter mix. You want to put a clear coat on top. It's going to give you a much more professional finish. In my opinion, I would say definitely go just that one extra step. And then I just you know, make sure I kind of heat it up a little bit. I also kind of would pick it up and just kind of pat it down just a little bit, just to make sure that it was level and I got some of those bubbles out. And I didn't have any issues with that. I didn't have too many issues, so I just kind of carried on and kept going on. And like here, once again, I'm putting a clear coat. I would just take the resin and just kind of squirt it on the top, just to where I think, okay, this is probably going to be enough. And I just pushed it to the edges. And you definitely want to use like a silicone tip thing. I will say, these silicone, I was very excited about getting these. I wanted to use them for all these different things. I broke 2 of them. I ripped the silicone right out of there when I was wiping them off. And so I don't know that I would suggest this brand, but if you have something along those lines, I would say definitely use it if it's something that you have used before and that you trust and that kind of thing. But silicone is the way to go. It's just so much easier to clean off, and then once, if you even set it up underneath the lamp, it will cure, and then you can just peel it right off. So that first gold glitter was Speakeasy that I designed, I put together for the sub box for Bougie Glitter a couple months ago. This glitter is the Gilded Age, and it is a gorgeous rose gold, if I do say so myself. And I thought it matched the rose gold of the clips and the stapler and all of that. I thought it matched perfectly, and I thought this is the perfect, you know, glitter to kind of bring those two together, because the Gilded Age and the Speakeasy were kind of done at the same time, so they do have a similar feel, a similar look to them. And so I thought both of them together, doing the gold and doing the rose gold, would be kind of like, these are really cool sets to kind of showcase together. And this is definitely something that I would just do. I would just put it together, put whatever glitter you want on there, whatever color, whatever, you know, however design you want to go. If you want to do some kind of vinyl work, I would definitely secure, or, you know, cover it with a coat of resin, like if you wanted to put Mrs. Jones on there or whatever, you know, or some kind of saying or whatever. I would definitely make sure that you coat it in a, you know, in some resin, just in that UV resin. You could definitely do epoxy on this, but I would say it would take a whole heck of a lot longer. You would really have to make sure that you were level on these two things, because that epoxy is going to travel and flow and go over the edges. And at least with the UV resin, you can like cure it really fast. So like as soon as you kind of get it on there, before it starts to flow and move and really come over the edges and stuff, you can just cure it and get it set. So like I said, you definitely could use epoxy, that's for sure, but I think the UV resin made this project a lot easier. And this is something you could set up and just immediately say, this is a whole set, you know, and you could sell the whole set with the little clips and the pen and the scissors and the stapler and whatnot. So I thought I would take this outside and show y'all that I legit take it out to my driveway and set it outside, and then I just flip them around. Like I had already put the gold one out there and then went back inside to do the rose gold, so I set it on that side, and then I would go back outside and kind of flip it around just to make sure the sun was getting it on both sides. And one thing I'm pretty sure y'all saw me do it, I didn't know that I talked about it, but I did definitely sand this down just ever so slightly. I didn't do like a crazy sanding, but I did sand it down just a little bit. It does help with just kind of letting that epoxy kind of grab hold of something. And so these are the staple removers. So I did lock them in place so that they were somewhat closed and so they weren't so, you know, like slanted up like they normally are when they're open all the way. And so they had this little piece in there that kind of pushed down and it would kind of lock it in place. They weren't the best, they didn't work the greatest, but you know, you don't normally lock them, I guess. You know, I would say I'd never lock mine when I was working on at a desk, but it did help for the you know, doing of the epoxy of the UV resin, so that it wasn't like slanted, so it wasn't like falling all the way back. So that did help out a lot. And this is all very repetitive, and so I didn't want to just like go over every single piece, because it is literally the same thing over and over again. But I wanted you to see each one of them. I wanted you to see that I did the stapler, that I did the tape dispenser, and I did the you know, staple remover, because those were the ones that had the acrylic, the clear acrylic. And so I wanted you know, those pieces to be covered in that glitter, and everything else I left the same. I did not you know, I did not go into, you know, doing the little paperclip case there or anything like that. I just kept it very simple, just the acrylic stuff. I thought that was the easiest and the most logical as far as making the statement on a desk, which is those types of things. And everything you see here with the gold, I did exactly on the rose gold. And here's the set. I thought it really worked all so well together, and I loved that little tape dispenser. That was the easiest and quickest, awesomest looking thing, and I just thought everything together flows really well. You've got the pen and the scissors and the set of, and look at that rose gold. Oh my gosh, it's like obsessed. I'm obsessed. Anyways, I thought everything went really well together, and just adding that pop of glitter on those is just so perfect. Please like and subscribe and join my group. Ring the bell, and I will see you next time.